Hey, this is John from Piano Artisans. Here's a little video on the player piano that we're going to rebuild. So it's Ampico A, but luckily on this one, kind of cool, they put Ampico B valves, later model. So I was taking apart these B valves, so if you get to see inside, they have a little bleed. Let me see if we can focus in there. Oops. So they have the ball bleed in there. You can hear it, but it's hard to see the actual ball, but it's inside of that the top bleed has the ball, the bottom bleed goes underneath the pouch like a normal valve. So these ones had a faster repetition, but they are can be a little finicky with that ball getting stuck, so it has to be, all the balls need to be taken out and cleaned. So that can just cause it's a little more labor intensive and can be finicky. But once we get them working, they're faster repetition than the original valves, or the original Ampico A style valve system, I guess I should say, with the double valve. And other than that, everything looks pretty original in here. So original motor, here's the transmission, original transmission. Typically we would rebuild or replace this part of the transmission, the frame. That typically starts to warp and bend over time as the pot metal degrades. For some reason they used a pot metal, and you can see it actually right there, it's already cracking. Right there's a couple little cracks, so that'll cause a big problem with the bleed. We can epoxy those as a temporary fix, but not going to be a permanent fix. It'll just work for the time being. Same thing goes for these valves. We typically replace these. So these are made out of pot metal also, and over time, you can see on this back one, it's starting to kind of bubble up, and that's the contamination in the metal that's starting to corrode and disintegrate. Also little tiny cracks right there you can see, but you can definitely see all these bumps on here, and that's typical of these older original valves. As far as tubing goes, it's all pretty normal. We have one last section of tubing going, instead of going to the drawer, just goes straight to the tracker bar, so that saves a couple hours of rebuild there, but it's still not that much different there. It is a little tight in here, so these are always a little more challenging to work on just because you don't have the wiggle room to get everything in. Bottom's not too tight here, but definitely not like a grand piano. So we got the intensity pneumatic, crescendo regulator for tempo regulator, regular amplifier pneumatic. Here's some of those things. I crisped that. I broke that loose. I broke this loose earlier, but these are all getting pretty stiff here, or they're definitely stiff. Looks like this has fallen down a little bit. I'm not sure if it was worked on previously or why everything's so loose in here, but everything's kind of fallen down, so maybe some strip screws in there, or maybe just taken apart and looked at in the past. Everything else looks like it's intact here. We got the loud pedal, soft pedal here. Spin that spins pretty freely. That's nice. Doesn't feel too. We'll check out those bearings in there once we get it apart. The motor we'll test to make sure that it has enough power under load, and so that it's not arcing or anything too much. And electrical. Oh, definitely have to replace electrical. I heard that crack right there. We do that. Hopefully these switches are good, so we'll check that. That actually feels pretty solid there. And all the rest of the valves look normal. I think that's about it. So a typical Ampico A rebuild with the Ampico B valves. So it should perform a little bit better than an Ampico A. Or than a typical Ampico A, I should say. So, pretty cool.